All right, so first up, we have a return presentation from Kennedy Charindeguta on leveraging AI-driven educational frameworks for effective engineering asset management in the Australian mining industry. The journey so far. Take it away, Kennedy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Craig. Hi, everyone. My name is Kennedy. I'm sure you know me from Praxis, previous sessions. I'm back again with my research, but today it's not quite a technical aspect of it. I just want to go through the journey so far from where I started and where I am, just to give someone else an encouragement and also share my experiences. I would like to acknowledge the Aboriginal elders of the land where we stand, those emerging, present, and those are the ones that are forthcoming. So what do we know about engineering asset management? So for those who don't know the project or who are hearing this for the first time, this is in mining industry, and pretty much we're looking at asset performance, asset reliability. What are the top things that we do at the moment, put at the top front in terms of viability for us to be able to run the mines? And this research can be expanded beyond the mining industry. I've just focused on mining industry because that's where I work, and I work full-time there, so I'm spending a lot of time there, and I just want to give value to that industry at the moment. But we do see that, because there is higher mining costs in maintenance and production, we do quite different times spend a lot of time worrying about the costs, worrying about the safety part, but research has shown me when I've done my master's that the value that people bring in an organization or in the mining industry is also quite valuable, yet it's being given a low priority. That's just the nature of the business. That's what I get told. But this research was about challenging that status quo. But you can see that as I have developed, this project has moved on from where I started. I've also started to think about artificial intelligence and Industry 5.0. Just a quick rundown. Industry 5.0 is about, Industry 4.0, I'll go back, was about us introducing automation in industry. Could be in transportation, could be wherever, at school, here. But 5.0, we are now saying how much can those machines interact with people? And this is where learning and development, as I am trying to go in within it, will help and will give more value to say, can we interface, can we collaborate with the machines for production or for output? So the research questions, so far, as I am progressing with it, I'm looking at, can AI-assisted educational frameworks improve learning and development for maintenance teams in the Australian mining industry? And the reason why I'm just looking at Australian mining industry, I've said before, is because that's my locality in area. It can go as quite external, but it will be quite big. The other sub-questions as well is I'm looking at, can AI in experiential learning and knowledge transfer, can it assist in that area as well as the relationship between workforce training and effective engineering asset management? At the same time, the hypothesis that I'm quite interested in testing, we have also looked at this from a master's level when I done the research, was knowledge transfer. When we facilitate it with AI assistance, can that give us more value in learning and development significantly for effective engineering asset management? Can we get more value out of that? Moving away from our traditional way of managing machines, could be in transportation, could be buildings, could be anything. But for this instance, I'm just looking at mining infrastructure. Can that improve the performance of those assets? I want to go more into the methodology. So when I was doing my master's, I've done a systematic literature review, which I presented to you last time. In this ongoing into my PhD now, I'm still going to be doing a quite intensive systematic literature review, probably looking at the last 15 years of stuff. My conceptual framework will still focus on academic learning, It will utilize the mixed method approach. So I'll be doing interviews. At the same time, I'll also be doing some surveys, which I'll send and get some feedback. I'll be looking at some variables as well, dependent and independent variables. I want to move forward to the journey. That's where I want to put much of my weight on today. So this journey began quite a long time ago. I think I remember I was looking at 2023 when I first came here. I was with Southern Cross University then, presenting on a research in another field. But that's when the seed of researching started in me. And I was like, well, I really like and I enjoy doing this, and I would like to give value in my industry. So I will touch on these 4 or 5 items as I move along. But yeah, just want to share how things can be complicated in a PhD research or in any research. So this is where my topic started, learning and development as a vital tool for engineering asset management. But I was looking at a systematic review then, which progressed into looking at how does AI, and I'll explain in the next coming slides why I now went on to looking at AI, mainly because industry is evolving. The world we're living in now, it's quite evolving on a very fast pace. So when you're doing research, you want to look at a research that will give value for the next coming generation. For me, it was up keeping in touch with that part of it, that element of it. So at the moment, the last one there, that's where I am at the moment. So I'm leveraging AI-assisted educational frameworks for effective engineering asset management. I want to talk about human ethics, and I think I was having a few conversations with people around during the break. I'm interested in working on a sub-project on human ethics, so if there's anyone who is interested, please come and join, we can have a chat. How much influence has that have in your research? A lot of people would agree that human ethics has quite a big influence. It could be positive, it could be negative. So I've listed down a few things in my experience on my journey, which I've gone through. At times, it has actually increased the credibility of my research because you're having someone else who is looking at your work and say, well, no, we need to revise this, we need to have a look at that. We've also refined the methodology. They actually force you to narrow down and say, okay, let's do things this way, which is something we wouldn't have without that. So I've looked at the positives. I'll also look at the negatives. Consent issues. I think during my master's thesis, I went for 8 months trying to get some human ethics. The main issue is because I'm interviewing people, and in my line of work, I was trying to interview apprentices who are below the age of 18, and that was hard. I had to go revise. You can't ask these questions. Where are you going to keep this information? And I ended up not interviewing that group of people, but I also felt like I missed out on a lot of information which I really needed for this research to find out, are we training these kids properly or not? But that's just the nature of it. So I'm really interested in finding out and researching at some point, how much does ethics influence research in this modern day world? To what effect is that? So we'll look at that, but there's issues to do with data protection, the participant of the recruitment, and also delays in the research. Like I said, 8 months, just waiting for that, but it is what it is. We move on from that. You get feedback from other people, and you get encouragement, and you move on. I've been very much invested in conferences in my research, so I'm pretty much like a small political party moving around and carrying out my research everywhere around the world. So I've been to New Zealand, I've been to a few countries, just pushing and trying to have conversations. And for me, it's more of, yes, we can present here, but let's have conversations outside and challenge, the status quo and stuff. So yeah, I've been with this particular research. I was here last year at Praxis. I did also go to New Zealand for A squared, E squared, and I felt like a little kid presenting there because there are all these professors in the educational sector who go to this, and they're quite challenging me with questions and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm just a student trying to present my work. But what I got from there was, this is where AI came in, because they were saying, yes, you're researching in learning and development, but have you thought that technology is moving? we are talking about AI and we are talking about the interfaces, ChatGPT, and what do you think about that in terms of your research? Because you want it to be relevant when you finish. So I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, it makes sense. So I want to encourage people who are in the room, if you can, attend conferences and go to as many as you can and present your work. It doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. It's a matter of just being there, getting value out of these conversations. So yeah, that's a few I've been going to. I'm looking forward. There's another one coming in Brisbane, ICM Symposium. So that's one there. It's more of asset management. People come in. It's an international one as well. And the opportunity there is you get value, you get conversations, you get feedback. These are some of the themes that have come through from the conversations I've had, and coming off from my master's, we can see that yes, AI-assisted learning and development, it is actually the thing we are looking at as engineers in the Industry 5.0. Same as coaching and training, there's knowledge transfer. Those are some of the benefits that we are looking at. Can we predict machine failure before it actually happens? Can AI assist us to give us hints and say, okay, this engine is going to fail because I've noticed this and that and that. And then all we have to do as engineers is make decisions based on that. Rather than spend our time collecting all this data, we can use AI to analyze all the information we have collected along the way and use it for that. However, there's also a lot of disadvantages or issues that we're worried about. Information, when you have it, who's going to keep it? Who keeps it safe? So I want to go on the feedback. I think I've talked about feedback you get from conferences, but for me, this is my first published research paper, and I felt so proud a couple of months ago when I received an email that, oh, Engineers Australia and New Zealand have published some of my work, and this is the beginning of my journey. This is my first published paper, so you can go and have a read on that link. Yeah, it's pretty much the beginning of my journey, but yeah, I'm quite thrilled for that achievement at the moment. Some of the feedback I've gotten from the conference is, yes, there's strong industry interest in that, AI-assisted training. And also at work, where I work and working with different minds, there's recognition for that digital upskilling as we move along and train new people into positions. We want to be as digital and as efficient as we can in a safe manner. It also does strengthen collaboration between industry relationships. There is a better understanding of ethical and operational constraints we can find out through this research as well. And then in conclusion, I just want to talk about where I see this research going. I think there's value in it, but there's also a lot of worry in terms of how much can you trust information, especially for organizations. How much information can they put out there in the cloud to be hosted by someone else for us to be able to use as engineers anywhere in the world and just tap into that? And imagine, for example, if I'm looking at a car, it's not starting, and then I just go on a chatbot and I'm go, okay, car not starting. And then I'm hoping the information I'm getting there is true, but who verifies that? And can we train students using that? What are the merits and demerits of that? It's quicker, it's more efficient, yes, but someone needs to check that that information we're getting from these AI-enabled chatbots is correct. So for me, that's where I am at the moment. I just want to leave more time for collaboration, challenge my mind, and please don't be afraid to point out certain issues. That's what I'm hoping to get out of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Kennedy. Banu, I knew you'd have a question.
Thank you, Kennedy. I'm really proud for you having your first publication. It's really appreciated. I know how you feel. Yes, thanks. And the next one is we do have a really good conversation during the break. That's also really good. Yes, thanks for that one.
Nah, cheers, man.
Yeah. And coming back to this, it's really a wonderful presentation, and the way you articulated them are so good, and the journey is so good, and wish you all the very best. And they are like, so you were saying that AI and the data matters, like, but from my point of view, data matters in some part of the presentation. You said like, we don't need to worry about the data, or if I am not mistaken, like the decisions. So we don't need to spend time on collecting the data, but as the expert, we just feed it to the AI tools or something, and then just looking at the dashboard given, they have to take the informed decision. But for me, since I'm from computer science field, the data matters. So AI is based on data. So whatever you feed really matters. So that's how it learns the patterns. So the data really matters all the time. And the AI has evolved because of that one. So earlier, before 2000, so 1990s or earlier, there are no proper ways to store the data. But these days, the AI is growing tremendously because after some period of time, the scientists realized that this data storing is really important. So say, for example, if you want to predict the customer buying patterns in a supermarket, so you can't just go and do with the one day. So heaps of data for 50 years, 20 years, that will help to make some dashboard for the AI to make the dashboard. Then only the decisions can be taken. So my question is actually, like, in the later part, you mentioned, say someone is trying to start the car. So you are not going to start the car when you're going to put in the AI, the car is not starting and it's giving the response. So whether it's valid or not. So everything is linked to the data, right? So what do you think about that? And have you considered that in your research?
I think that's an important aspect you're bringing out. I think the reason why I say data, we don't want to put much weight on data. This is what's really happening in the industry, and I'm challenging that in some ways. You've got a lot of information we've collected along the years, right? And do we spend more time verifying that information, or we study that information and come with a decision? However, in my line of work, because I'm also part of trying to train students that are coming along the way, we do quite emphasize on putting correct information and the reason why they need to put correct information. I think where the gap will be, and this is, I don't know, the research will have to find that out. I think the gap would be who then checks that information. We can have data, yes, stored somewhere. Who verifies it?
Quality matters, of course, everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Hi, Kennedy. I really liked your presentation. You said that at the end that we need to check the outcomes of what AI gives us. So at the end, we still have need to have seniors or experienced people to check the outcome of the AI. So. And we are trying to use it for learning. So do you think that on the long term, after maybe 10, 20 years, when students are using AI to learn, they will lack the information to find the actual things that they are trying to know by themselves. So we will have a lack of experienced workers to check the information that the AI spits out. For example, in coding, if we have a lot of people using AI to write codes right now, so after 10 years, 20 years, we may lack senior coders who really understand how things work. So how can we make sure that this doesn't happen in the future?
Yes, I love that question, and it's part of my side discussion I've had during break time as well. Personally, I think my research, when I started, it wanted to emphasize on the importance of people for correct skills through training and developing people. It's quite important for me, and I understand that. And now that I'm moving over to this other side and finding out the benefits of AI, and I'm also now in the middle and thinking, well, there's benefits both sides. Personally, I would still love people to be very much involved in coding or just checking if that safety level. They tell me this is possible. I'm yet to find out whether that's correct or not, but these are some of the things I would like to find out when I do the interviews, when I talk to university professors, when I talk to industry professionals. What are their thoughts on that? And I would be very glad to come back and share with you that information. Yeah.
Oh, well, look, thanks very much, Kennedy. And
Thank you.
I'm sure we all wish you well in your research, and we look forward to having you back again next year. And look, if anyone else has more questions for Kennedy, I'm sure I'll be happy to discuss that with you over lunch. Ali, could you